educating Greater Manchester. Filmed in a suburb of Salford in the Harrop Fold School, which sounds a bit weird. The head teacher was Drew Povey, one of three brothers, oddly, who taught at the school.
I like that.
But the episode mainly centred around a Year 7 boy by the name of Rani, whose family had come over from Syria. He was in a sort of remedial class, I suppose you could call it, called COGS. And there was a great scene early on when he was talking about his Syrian upbringing and what happened, why he left Syria. And he was teaching them all to pray, which I thought was quite a nice scene. And soon he got taken under the wing of a young lad by the name of Jack, who was another sort of old beyond his years.
Peter Kay's son, I think.
He basically sort of chaperones him around the school, and there's that great scene with the dirty van where, as someone said, I think it was on Twitter, people of all cultures just coming together by drawing boobs on a van.
It was more peni, wasn't it, than boobs?
That's my new ringtone right there.
We're a penis.
That's a text alert waiting to happen. If you want me to send you that audio, I will.
What I feared would be shoehorned in the last 10 minutes was the stuff with the Ariana Grande concert and what happened in Manchester. But cleverly, what they did was they sort of wove it into the fact that there were these Muslim kids at the school. What I didn't mention was Rani had been taken under the wing as well of a older Syrian child. I think it was in year 10. So, and they did have like a group for all these people who had English as a second language.
I really enjoyed this. I really did. My favourite head teacher since Yorkshire, because I think he's very switched on. He's strict without being silly and just full of humanity, this show. My issue initially was, and this is again my issue and probably nobody else is watching, I've seen a lot of programmes on immigration of late. There seems to be one every week. And it was sort of telling the same story I'd seen a lot. And my favourite bits were actually his connections with Jack and their friendship. But all the other stuff, I'd sort of seen that before. And I don't like all that stuff being thrown down your...
I suppose I know what you mean, but what was different here was the fact that it was a children's perceptions of it rather than adults. And
I've seen it a lot on recent
I could see, those sort of themes and stuff like that. I get that because it's very prevalent at the moment. But I think the narrative they were going for here was the fact that children on the whole are a lot more tolerant than adults, and we could all learn something from someone like Jack.
I agree. That is a minor niggle because not every episode is going to focus on Rani and his background and things like that.
What I liked as well is that it wasn't about like a stereotypical naughty child like a lot of these. The main tale was one of friendship and acceptance and tolerance. Yeah. The only thing I didn't like was the school uniform with all those men running. I thought it was horrendous.
I struggled with Cardiff. Why? Cardiff's probably my least favourite of all the
I really liked Cardiff. I liked the headmistress because she hadn't had that sort of being brought up in education. She wasn't all for like discipline, like detentions and stuff. She was like, right, if you do this again. I mean, like that final episode with the school show, I still remember now, and it's 2 years ago.
Yeah, but on the whole, I struggled with that. I can already tell that I'm going to be enjoying this a lot more.
This is all in my neck of the woods, so obviously I sort of, where they're calling the evening meal tea, I can sort of empathise with that.
Yeah.
I agree with Luke. I think the best thing about the show is the headmaster. I think he is a totally grounded character. Happened to be at home and he was on BBC News that morning, so they played the clip of him shouting at all the boys at the end.
There's been a van on the playground. Really, it's quite amusing, but I need to go and be angry, so I need to compose myself.
Should we come in?
Yeah.
Can you sit down?
No, you can't. None of you will sit down in this office. Get in and make sure you can see me and hear me. Everyone in this room better have their eyes glued to mine for this whole conversation. Your eyes come off mine and there's big trouble. Whilst we might have all done something like that when we were at school, and I might have been, partial to drawing something like that myself in those circumstances.
I was a lad myself once, believe it or not.
I think we have to look at the situation that we're dealing with, which is the reputation of the school.
Do you have any idea what those people will be thinking of this school? Thinking of you, thinking of you, thinking of you, you, and you. What are they going to think about the blue blazer? What are they going to be saying about Harrop Fold? You write a letter of apology, and it better be perfect. It will be done on proper Harrop Fold headed paper. And these better be the best letters I have ever seen in my life.
I'll be back with paper in a minute.
Prat about.
I definitely am intrigued to see more centred around him and his style and his ethos, because I think
And the other staff members.
The one thing that you didn't say is that this was formerly a very failing school that he personally really has turned around. I think with all these series, as you say, what tends to be is that you realise these kids are a lot more mature than you think. That yeah, they all do stupid things, but you look at some of them and they're much more socially aware, I think, than I was at that age, and certainly aware of encouraging others and things like that. I thought some of that was truly remarkable. I dare you not to have a soul if you didn't find that uplifting. Really.
Where does it stack up for you, Matt? Our favourite, I think, collectively is Yorkshire, you and I.
I would go Yorkshire, Cardiff, at the moment of the full series. Yorkshire, Cardiff. I mean, I can't really remember Essex that well, or East End.
I do. I remember Essex.
No, I don't.
I would probably go East End, Essex, or Essex. I don't know. It's because it was 6 years ago now, Essex.
Yeah,
so
2011.
I remember Mr. Drew, and that's about it. But I remember, and the only thing I remember East End getting a bit sort of tired towards the end. But I really like that election episode.
I think the thing is it was the Yorkshire one that kind of went viral, isn't it? That was the one that kind of made Essex was on, but we really started talking about it with Yorkshire. There's certainly nothing else like this at the moment. There's not a really good fly-on-the-wall drama documentary at the moment that I could say would take away my watching. I suppose maybe the Bake Off is that kind of category. I don't know, but yeah, I think I will be continuing.